Podcast.com. Get free audiobook download at Audible. The AMC TV series, The Walking Dead. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Talking Dead. This is episode number 53 for the 12th of September 2011. We are about 1 month out from the second season premiere of The Walking Dead.
Pretty close.
It's exciting. We're almost there. Remember when we were recording back in the spring and it felt like so long?
Yeah,
until it's coming on?
like so long ago.
And I said something stupid like, let's just blow through the summer, get the fall, get right back to it. And you corrected me rightly saying, let's have a nice, long, warm, fun summer.
Oh, yeah.
And then get into the fall season 2.
Yep.
Now summer's done. Here we are, middle of September, and we're only about 4 weeks from the premiere.
Yeah, we did. Now the summer's gone.
Summer's gone.
I blame you.
It's all my fault.
Yeah.
It's all my fault. So how's it going? How's the last 2 weeks?
Very good. Very good. Very busy.
Yeah, super busy. You're
Buy
buying
a house.
That's very exciting.
All that stuff.
That's very exciting. You're going to move in on the weekend that the show premieres.
That's correct.
So
Cable will be set up before I get there.
Okay.
And I'll have a high definition antenna that's across antenna.
No,
okay. Oh, I'm pooped. I don't get cable. So I'll have cable.
Worst case scenario, you'll pick a show up on iTunes premiere the next morning.
That's
Right away.
right. Yeah. Or just come here.
Or you want to come here. I won't be here, but you're down if you want.
That's fine.
We'll get into why in a minute. Before that, I just want to tell everyone I'm in a significant amount of body pain.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I did some physical activity this weekend. I didn't mention to you yet, because that would be more fun to talk about right
I told you
here.
not to do backflips.
I shouldn't do backflips, but it wasn't backflips.
I guess. Sure. All right. Significant amount of physical activity this weekend.
A, you're never going to guess it because B, it's kind of lame. But it hurts me.
You were picking up rocks from the driveway the whole weekend and then each weighed 50 pounds.
No, it's a much more fun physical.
You took a shot putting course.
Paper toss, actually.
Paper toss is good. Did you get over? Full toss?
No, it wasn't paper toss. It was badminton.
Oh, badminton.
I really like badminton, but it's surprisingly hard on your body for trying to be active like me. And this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill pansy kind of hit back and forth.
That's not badminton. That's hitting the shell back and forth.
I was actually playing badminton. We had a mini tournament, and it wasn't that many because over Saturday and Sunday I probably played 5-6 hours of badminton.
Wow.
So my legs were hurting, my shoulder, and my right arm. And
Yeah, I loved it. I thought badminton was great.
It's really
I was a master. Where's a master at getting that shuttlecock across the net?
I would like to challenge you then.
No way, I can't now. Why not? That means that changes the direction. Would I'd be on the grounds and would unable to walk for a week. Like almost immediately if I started playing. I can't play tennis. I can't go skiing. It was hard enough walking over here. The weather that's happening right now.
That's unfortunate.
It really is. No, I can't. I wouldn't even think about playing badminton. Too many quick changes of direction. I need to blow and I'd be on the ground.
Okay, so I was thinking to myself, if I can't even get through a couple days of badminton, I'd be completely screwed in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, I've done that for years.
And the bad news, you'd be like running away, but they'd still be faster than you.
Yeah, oh, no, I'd done.
All right, well, you might are screwed then. You might as well just get
That's
there.
why I need a bomb shelter in my house and a rack of shotguns. And lots of ammo.
And lots of ammo. And
That way I don't have to run anywhere.
for a while.
Well, we let them die down. You go in the winter when they're all frozen.
Just to be around. That's true. We live in a place that gets off the cold winters.
Yeah,
So
no problem.
okay, exciting. Now that I told my badminton story,
Now, where do you play badminton?
my neighbor over there, they got a real, I don't know what professional badminton setup is, but he got a pretty high-end backyard badminton net.
Nice.
And so we got together and some of the guys in the neighborhood, we got around and we had this little badminton tournament. And I'm probably worse than everybody who's playing. They're all athletic, they're some older than me, but they're all athletic and better shape, most of them. Oh, one guy's pro tennis player, so that doesn't help.
Did he win?
He's almost impossible to beat.
Did he beat him in the head with the show?
No, he's impossible to beat right now.
You smash it right at their head. People don't know how to get that racket angled right to deal with something right to do.
Can't do that in this game. We have a court painted on the grass, and if you shoot it out, it's out their point. So smashing it at them, if you hit them, that's fine. But if you miss, it's going to hit them every time.
Well, yeah, but you can smash down because that's not super high.
No, you can't smash him. That takes a certain amount of talent. And he's a tennis player. He's good at returning
I
shuttlecocks.
smash him in the face.
Well, you probably lose.
Okay, well, if I had two rackets, I just stood in the middle. I didn't move and just kind of flew around.
I don't think that would work either.
We had lightsabers instead.
We have one. Well, we wouldn't have net for very long, probably. We have one rule that I believe is custom to our backyard badminton league,
Yep.
and that is, and this may not be, this may be a rule in real badminton, I don't know if you can tell me, but the rule we have is that if it goes off your body, and you can return it with a racket without hitting the ground, it's fair
I
shot.
think so. I think it's actual badminton rules, right? That sounds familiar to me.
Like you can bounce off your chest, and if you can get it back over,
Yeah,
hit the
I
back,
think that's a real rule.
Interesting. What if your hand though? What if you kind of like set it with your hand?
Well, I think it's kind of like hockey, right? You can stop it with your hand, but you can't actually push the puck with your hand.
Or close your hand.
Or grab it and throw it at your friend, or pass it into the net.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Or grab it and put it under your shirt and skate all the way down the line and take it out throw it in the net.
Gotcha. Can't do that. No, okay, can't do that. I didn't realize that was an actual rule.
Well, I'm just guessing. It sounds familiar to me. I haven't played badminton. Last time I played badminton was 1993. Possible.
A long time ago.
Sure was. That's when I used to be able to make quick changes of movement without falling down and get screaming out of pain.
I wasn't badminton that screwed up your knees.
No, it's life.
Yeah, well, that happens. Okay, well, we talked about badminton for a lot longer than I intended, but anyways, that's what
This is the badminton podcast. What podcast are we doing?
yeah, this isn't the badminton show. That's one we do.
Oh, that's badminton weekly, right? Okay.
This week in badminton. Totally. We'll all be like doing my backyard. Okay, let's get to some Walking Dead news.
Okay.
There's lots of news this week. We also, of course, have our Walking Dead actor spotlight on Andrew Rothenberg. Is his name Andrew? Yeah.
It's pronounced differently. Andrew. No, that's the same thing. I got it.
Yeah, that's the one. But before all that, I want to make an announcement. It's exciting, or at least exciting for me.
Okay.
And that is
Exciting for me,
that's right. That is that in about next month in 4 weeks, I'm going to be traveling to New York City to attend the New York City Comic Con.
Oh, that is exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've been thinking about this for a long time. You and I were trying to do a trip.
Yeah, we were thinking about it.
We couldn't make San Diego
No,
work.
that's it.
And frankly, New York's a little easier for us to get to because we've got cheap airlines that go 8 times a day or something like that. So I'm coming down by myself, all by my lonesome, on October 13th, which is the first day of Comic Con, and I'm flying home until Monday the 17th. So I'm there for all 4 days.
Wow.
All 4 days straight. It's going to be awesome.
You're gonna have cable while you're there, right?
Yeah. I'm staying 2 different places. Both have cable. Because of course, as we know, season 2 premieres during the week of Comic Con, which is great. So I imagine there's going to be all kinds of Walking Dead stuff going on there. Robert Kirkman will be there. I'm hoping to chat with him for a minute.
That's great. You have to sign your forehead.
Why?
And then have it tattooed.
I can think of better things for the sign on my forehead, frankly.
Your bicep.
No, not my body.
Next to your tattoo of a barbed wire fence around your bicep.
Piece of barbed wire.
Yeah, because you have that, right? Where it's a barbed wire fence around your bicep.
Doesn't everybody?
Well, that's what I assume.
Right, okay. So I'm going to talk Robert if I can. I don't know. I've actually let everyone know apply for press credentials.
That'd be cool.
Podcast is one of the things listed right there on the press form, so I figured it couldn't hurt. Why not? If not, I'll just be a regular attendee each and everybody else. That's right. But it's going to be great. I'm going to bring some stuff with me if I can, some stuff to give out to people. We'll see. We haven't really firmed up all those details yet, but we're working on it now. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to just hanging around New York a little bit, seeing some stuff, attending Comic Con, and just having a really good time. So if there's anybody down there who's listening and you want to meet up or say hi or have a beer and you're not a weirdo, then I say we totally do it.
I'm glad you put that in there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what weirdo I can handle? Psycho is probably something I want to handle.
I'm not sure psychos know that they're psychos. It's something to do, but are you ever really sure?
I don't know. I guess not.
I've never really been psycho, so I couldn't tell you. I just assume that psychos don't really know.
All right. Well, if you're a friendly person and you want to hang out, maybe get a beer, maybe just meet up at the Comic Con. If I have stuff to give away, if you want to get free stuff, let's get in touch. I'm looking for people to meet while we're down there because I'm going to be all by myself. I'll be alone.
I can't go.
No, you suck.
Yeah, I'm moving that weekend.
Into your brand new house. That's
It's exciting, very exciting. But you gotta do. You do.
All right. Well, just make sure that at some point in the future, assuming we still do this, make time to go on a trip to something goofy like Comic Con.
Well, next year I think San Diego would be good.
That would be good if we can interact with that.
We should,
and frankly, I should say, if San Diego can get their act together, so people can actually buy tickets.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
That'd be awesome. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. We're gonna try and do a brief Skype podcast every night while I'm down there. So you gotta at least make yourself available for that.
I will.
Very good.
Well, talking about the completely unavailable shot from the outside world.
No, spend all day moving your crap, organizing stuff, and then in the evening you're really tired, ready to go to bed. Take 20 minutes and we'll get on Skype.
Yeah, I'll either get on my computer or go in the backyard. Well, that'd be nice. Go in the backyard.
The first thing that your neighbors will hear is you
Talking about zombies.
This
This is where I'm gonna put the bomb shelter. That's right. I'm gonna load it with 3 years worth of Chef Boyardee.
how to properly zombie protect your house. Right, there you go. Okay, guys, so it's gonna be great. If anyone's down in New York and wants to meet up, by all means, send us a quick email to talkingdeadpodcast@gmail.com and we will make it happen. All right, let's get into the news. The Walking Dead news for this week.
Sorry.
What was that?
Flashlight.
Careful, don't break the flashlight. True. So the news, season 2, more season 2 details. There's all kinds of stuff coming out. It's been a fairly busy couple of weeks, and I don't think it's gonna really slow down until the show's back on, and then it's not gonna slow down either. So all kinds of information was released. The most exciting of which is that the premiere will be 90 minutes long.
Oh, that's good.
Just like the season 1 premiere, which as it stands right now, is, I think probably the best episode of the show. I think so. 9 minutes long. Now I'm not sure if this means we are having 13 episodes, the first of which is 9 minutes long, or if we're having 13 episodes and 2 of them air on premiere night.
And 45 minutes each.
And 40.
Well, the 90 minutes is 9 minutes duration. Minutes each.
And 40.
Well, the 90 minutes is 9 minutes duration, not 9 minutes of showtime, right? because an hour program is only 44 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
commercials.
That's true. So
90 minutes is probably the time slot that they have.
Is the time slot.
So it's probably like an hour of actual footage.
hour and a bit probably.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it's kind of more. It's probably an hour and 10 or
Well, 20
something.
minutes per half hour, right? So an hour 40, 44 plus 22 would be 66. So an hour a bit. Yeah,
I guess an hour and a bit. The reason I say I'm not sure is because I initially assumed, like in season 1, we had 6 episodes. The first one just happened to be extra half hour.
I think that's probably the ability.
Although in one of the websites I was reading, I think it was actually Glenn Nazar, the showrunner, who was saying that they decided to combine the first 2 episodes into one.
Oh, so hosting it.
So we might only kind of end up with 12 episodes instead of 13.
Right.
But I'm not 100% sure what they say. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I hope we just get like expanded premiere
Pretty good.
and then 12 more normal episodes after that.
I would like
Good. As we know, it's going to be on October 16th at 9 p.m.
We'll be in New York.
I will be in New York.
Will you be in
So we're not going to watching together, which we probably would
Have we?
only got one time. We came over to your house.
Oh, yeah. We watched the second time.
The second time, yeah. I don't remember why. I don't remember why.
I think we did a podcast.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter. We'll do that again. So after the premiere, here's the other news. We get 6 1-hour episodes. We'll air in consecutive weeks.
good.
And then we're taking a break.
Yeah.
So we're taking a break from sometime in early December or late November for holidays and for football season.
Right.
And the show is not coming back until February 12th.
That's good.
That's kind of a long break. It's 2 months.
Nah, that's fine. That's normal. I mean, they're premiering stuff in September, right? They don't want to step on the toes of that. Most of the TV's all premiering in September, so they want to step on those toes. And then we have our mid-season stuff that's all premiering in January, and they want to step on those toes. So I think February is the right time.
Why don't they want to step on the toes of these other shows? What do they care? This is the highest rated show on TV.
I don't know. Well, they're later than a lot of shows. They're premiering. Well, they premiere all through September, mid-September to mid-October. Right? So this is on the tail end of that. So it makes sense that they'll take a break, and then on the tail end of the mid-season stuff that starts in January to mid-February.
I just don't really get it exactly because there are other shows like Breaking Bad, which is on now. It runs straight through 13 episodes.
Yeah.
The Killing ran straight through.
Yeah.
I've actually never watched Mad Men when it's actually broadcasting, so I don't know if they break that up. I doubt it.
I don't know.
So why all of a sudden they break up the Walking Dead? I don't understand.
Well,
I
break for Christmas.
understand. Have to break the holidays for sure. And I guess the other thing was football season. I guess a lot of viewers are taken away by football. And the Sunday night show is Sunday night football a big thing.
I would
It sounds like it to me. I don't know. I think the Super Bowl is always on Sunday. If I'm not mistaken.
Super Bowl Sunday seems like a phrase I've heard before.
See, exactly. So I guess football is a big deal in terms of TV watching. It's a big deal in general. So I don't know. It just kind of bugs me though that they're going to take a break. Now it's nowhere near as bad as we saw when things like Battlestar Galactica were on.
Oh, yeah.
And they take an 8 month
Even The Sopranos, which was over a year mid-season.
Are you serious?
They split the season. Even Battlestar did that. It was a year. It was a year between.
Why? Well, that's a whole rabbit we won't get into. But I suppose by those standards, a break from December to February is okay.
I have no problem with this break.
Well, it annoys me because I'm not going to want to wait. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
Who does?
Yeah, one of the other things I read is that TVByTheNumbers.com said that it probably has to do as much with accounting as anything else. Apparently, networks don't have to report the expense for a TV episode until it actually airs.
Right.
So they delay a show, and what they do is they spread the expense for one season over 2 or 3 quarters
Oh.
of time, so they don't have to book it all at the same time.
Right.
And I guess they do that for accounting and tax purposes and so on.
Well, you
So,
have to recognize income at a certain point, right? Or recognize expenses and recognize income. And it's very strategic when you do that.
yeah, of course. So we'll see. I mean, that could be another reason, but you're right. At least it's not a 6 or 12 month break. It's just a couple of months. And
Well, maybe they're doing a Valentine's Day episode. They want to coordinate that with February 14th. So they have something on February 12th, and it's the Valentine's Day.
we'll come back after hiatus, and it'll be Valentine's Day. That's right. Isn't that nice? I didn't think that must be what it
Little
is.
zombie cherub. True love.
Yep, that's gotta be it. Yeah. So continuing with season 2, the premiere is actually screened to a number of journalists already.
Oh.
So there's a bit of information out there, and most of them, well, I guess all of them are under serious NDAs, not really talking about other than knowledge the fact they were there.
I saw it. I saw it.
People have seen it, and pretty much universally, they said it's amazing.
Why not supposed to?
Well, they're not supposed to give details, but they're allowed to say whether they like it or not.
I'll let
And
them.
theoretically, you're probably not really allowed to say if they thought it sucked.
Oh, their NDA is like, if you didn't like it, shut the hell up.
No.
If you liked it, you can say you liked it, but don't say why.
Well, here's some quotes from the NewYorkPost.com and NYPost.com. The season is, in fact, the new season is, in fact, just sickening, and you'll love every minute of it as much as I do. That's quote number 1.
Wow, that's pretty many, but what I like and don't like.
Yeah, exactly. You'll love it if you're in the door. The author writer also says one outstandingly gory scene involving the pulling out of guts from a walker is so out of control crazy that it makes last season's infamous draping intestine scene look like it was staged for the Teletubbies. So it sounds like we've got something horribly sickening in the first episode.
I find Teletubbies sickening personally.
True, but in a different way.
In a different way.
That's right.
Less gory.
but still sickening. That theme of the gore was kind of repeated by a number of people. So I think there's something in the first episode that is just horrific.
They found the envelope and they're pushing it.
Probably. I guess I don't
Good
know for the gore anyways. eOnline.com said it will blow your mind.
Again, telling you how to feel.
And that's all we can say. Sorry. So there's also a couple notes about Frank Darabont there. They said we did a lot of work plugging the season with Frank. Glenn Nazar said, I think we had such a smooth transition because it comes from a fully articulated world. There's no plan to deviate. There's no different vision of the show. So eOnline, I guess, did an interview with some of the producers and stuff like that after the screening, and naturally the topic of Frank Darabont came up. Right. And that's what they had to say. Galen Hurd said it wasn't like a palace revolt. Frank blessed Glenn as showrunner, and they cleared the cast and crew that he had his blessing. So there you go.
Well, you know, it's not really a palace revolt, but some kind of church revolt where you get a blessing of the previous guy.
Yeah,
He's metaphors here.
you need that, I guess. So AOL TV, Robert Kirkman was interviewed by them. He said, I think season 2 is just jam-packed. It's a much bigger season than the first season. There's a lot going on. I don't know that I necessarily agree with the criticism of the first season being too slow, but I will say that it's definitely a bigger season.
Oh, so
It's
slow.
slow. Well, some people said the first season was slow because all we were doing was hanging out at the camp.
What do you expect?
Well, I don't understand that criticism. I was never bored. I think it was slow. The whole thing was great, you know, so I don't really get that.
Well, you know, people just want to, they want to Saw, right? Where you get door upon door upon door upon door, and it's just, you know, non-stop. Get the story, characters. I just want to beat zombies. And to them, it's slow.
That's true. It depends on what your expectations are for a zombie show. If you're not familiar with Walking Dead, that's not what you're going to get.
Yeah, you know, we're going expecting, you know, character-driven, story-driven zombie apocalypse instead of just, you know, weapon-driven, smashing-driven zombie apocalypse. Which, you know, they're out there, but it's not it.
No, it's not it. In the same interview, Glenn Nazar said, it's episode 4. You won't get a breather until episode 4. So we're going to have 3 full episodes.
That's 4 weeks. I will not be able to breathe.
That's a long time.
Really, like, I don't know if I can hold my breath for 4 weeks.
That's, yeah, I don't know. They're going to have a lot of suffocated people.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about this, and my feeling is that we'll probably get to the farm in episode 2 or 3.
Yep.
And, you know, so getting there is going to be hairy and crazy. You want to hold your breath. When the first episode they get to the farm, they'll probably be like, oh my god, like there's zombies in the barn, and like people at the farm will
We're all
like,
that right away. They don't get to the barn thing right away.
I bet
They
they'll
get a little bit of a breather.
I would be surprised if they get to that quick. What I mean is they'll get there. It'll all be chaos for a little while. And that's why I'm thinking they'll get there in the end of episode 2. Episode 3 will be chaos while everyone settles in. Episode 4 will be when everyone sits down on the dinner table and talks it out.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
There you
And that'll be your breather episode. So
Cool.
episode 4 is your breather. 5 and 6 before hiatus is when some farm stuff goes crazy.
Farm stuff goes crazy. Gotcha.
Like I guess zombies in the barn. Probably that'll happen after.
Yeah, I was going to go after.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It's kind of a, you know, kind of a whoa thing.
Right, that's the whole half episode right there dealing with that. Yeah, maybe more. I don't know. So there you go. That's it has screen. People said it's super gory and it's really, really awesome. There are people, everyone who saw it from what I can tell is really excited how good they thought the first episode was. So
I haven't seen it in an episode.
yeah, that's right. I would love to see it though. So AMC, if you're sending out, you know, promos or press copies right here.
Even if you need us to go someplace, like if you need to go to New York to screen it.
That's right. There's gonna be a secret screening in New York during Comic-Con ahead of time. I'm right there for you.
Okay, that's good.
A couple last things from Twitter. Other people who were there went on Twitter, and Matt and had something to say, like Matt Roche. He said, wasn't in the mood for lunch anyway, but after getting peek at intense and graphic, excellent Walking Dead season 2 opener, I really only have appetite for episode 2.
Oh, that's
clever Twitter post there by
Less
the
than
way.
140 characters?
I guess so.
That's amazing.
Adam Bryant on Twitter said Walking Dead season 2 premiere won't let any fans down. It may, however, make a few of them puke. Can't wait to see more.
Well, I don't know if a fan would puke.
Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. I mean, my wife's a fan. I don't think she's brought a TV show, but
Yeah. If anybody pukes, let us know.
Yeah,
Seriously,
absolutely.
calling, let us know that it made you sick. It made you actually vomit something up.
yeah, cover yourself in puke. That would be
So
disgusting.
you can take a picture of that too.
Send it to Jason. He's into that.
Not really, but if you can take a picture while puking, like if you have the presence of mind to actually take your own photo while you're vomiting, I think it's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
You know what? Just let us know you took a picture and keep pictures yourself.
Jarrett Weisselman on Twitter said, Walking Dead season 2 premiere is their best episode yet, and he finished it with the hashtag get excited.
Get excited.
Their best episode yet, Jason. That's saying
I
something.
have gotten excited.
Good. Well, you listen to him. Yeah, that's all this news is fantastic.
It is. It's very good. And the fact that they are screening it to the press means that they're very confident that this is actually a good episode. They don't screen stuff they don't feel confident in.
Did they do that in TV? I know they do that with movies, but it's never occurred to me that they might hold back TV pre-screenings due to no confidence.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
I saw this thing was a complete load of crap. I'll bother watching it.
People, I guess, just like, they're probably just not nearly as much sort of buzz or coverage of pre-screened TV episodes.
No, I'm surprised they pre-screened it, to tell you the truth.
Well, this happened last year too. Remember season 1 they sent those really nice
Oh, they were
press
very
packs with the gun, toy gun in it and stuff like that. So yeah,
They show up on eBay?
that's a good question. I don't know. We should look. I would love one of those. But hey, there's the season 2 equivalent again. Love them. So there we go. Season 2 premiere screen, and people are excited. So in about a month's time, we will all get to see it and find out if we agree or disagree with the early buzz.
Month from Thursday.
Is that what it is?
It's on Friday, 16th.
That's right. On Friday, everybody. It's a Sunday night. So a new dispatch from the set comes from Glenn Mazzara, the man in charge himself. So there's a lot of good information here. He teased a couple of things. Asked about what surprises him about the material. He said, "Our approach to our group of survivors when they reach Herschel's farm is that they are a plague unto themselves. Nothing goes right for Herschel once Rick and his band show up. They make the zombie apocalypse look like kids in a candy store. What's interesting is that if this was a show solely about Herschel, Rick and his band would really be the antagonists.
Oh.
That's an interesting point.
That is.
Because Rick's obviously our main guy, and they're our heroes. They're our main characters. But it's a small leap of perspective change to go from them being the heroes to the villains.
That's it. Yeah, it's because from Herschel's perspective, this is actually very interesting. Is that he's on along his little farm, he's got everything under control, he's got family in the barn, he's got everything's good, and all of a sudden these people show up and go, well, you're doing things wrong, and they cause havoc, and they make everybody upset, and all of a sudden they have to leave. That's a very bad thing.
And the thing about Rick, especially Rick, is that he's a control freak.
Okay.
He's got to always be the man in charge and do it his way, and whatever it takes to survive, which we know. But like he doesn't sort of bend over for anybody or change his position at all. So it's more so than other characters in other shows. He's a guy who can come in and you can really see other people's side of things if they don't agree with him. Right. So it's gonna be interesting. You see that a lot in the comic. Obviously, he's been dealing with the zombie apocalypse for a lot longer in the comic, but in the TV show, it sounds like they're going to get into some of the same themes. Glenn Mazzara also said in the interview, in the graphic novel, the story that takes place in Herschel's farm is really only a few issues. We've been able to mine that for many episodes, and we're excited about the depth to which we're able to push the characters.
That's good.
So lots of cool stuff is going to happen there. The more I think about this, I think most, if not all, of season 2 is going to take place in and around this farm.
I don't know that the hiatus break, I think, is probably going to be an Exodus kind of thing.
You think everyone will leave the farm?
Well, yeah, I think they will. I think everybody will better off by the time they take a break.
But that's if we go with that theory, they don't get to the farm until maybe episode 3. Maybe end 2. Episode 4 is our cooldown, and 5 and 6 all crap goes, and then they leave already.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Huh. I don't know. That doesn't seem like long enough to mine that for many episodes.
I don't know, because then they got the from last show we had that they were talking about the set where we thought it was Woodbury or that small community.
That's true,
They
too.
got there, right?
That's true,
So
too.
I think that might be the second half of the season is taking place on the road and in there and that kind of stuff.
Wilshire Estates.
That's Wilshire Estates. And then last week.
Yeah, we had a writer, we had a listener write in and give us the correct name of that. So I think that Wilshire Estates. And you're right. They do have to get there, assuming they're going there based on some filming locations we talked about last time. It seems like they might be. So I don't think they're going there before the farm. So right, probably after. See, I would think that they're going to get the farm. They're going to have a couple of episodes. Episode 6, there's probably going to be some big cliffhanger type thing. And then when we come back from break, we're still going to be on the farm for 1 or 2 episodes.
So?
Because we still have 8 through 13 or whatever we're going to be seeing. So 8, 9, 10 at the farm. They leave episode 10. Who knows what happens in the last 3? Right. They get to Wilshire Estates maybe.
That's where they get the aircraft carrier.
The aircraft carrier.
Yeah, they're taking the aircraft carrier.
They sail at the sea. No, they can just walk down on the bottom of the ocean.
So what? Yeah, aircraft carrier is on top of the ocean.
Good luck down there, boys.
Doesn't have to be. They only use it for 10 feet.
That's it for aircraft carrier?
Oh, well, me, I don't use it for 10 feet. Aircraft carrier is probably deeper than that. But still, in the middle of the ocean, there's a big difference.
One thing I intend on doing when I'm in New York City is touring aircraft carriers parked in the harbor.
Ask them what the damn thing draws.
I will ask about the depth. That's exciting.
There's many markings on the side. You can see ships with markings 20 feet, 10 feet, whatever. So you just walk up to all the 3 feet.
Yeah, I know about that.
It's not full though, right?
Well, I think it's not full of. Well, it's got a lot of people on doing the tour. It's got planes on flight there.
Aircraft carriers hold like 16,000 people or something. There's a lot of people in there.
Well, granted, it's not like empty. I mean, like there's probably a couple thousand people doing the tour at any given moment.
Yeah.
So that may not be full cast and crew in an aircraft carrier, but still.
Captain Crew's like chorus line.
They're all
singing and dancing the whole time.
Exactly. That's what happens in aircraft carriers.
Yeah, I assume so.
But they also have the flight deck and the lower deck full aircraft that you can go and check out. So there may be more planes than usual. I don't know.
I don't know.
Helicopters.
So what does this thing draw? And how deep does it go? And what's the weight capacity and where are we at now?
We'll start making a list of questions for the aircraft carriers.
Yeah,
That's the whole tour.
and of course, do they sing and dance all the time when they're out at sea?
And when zombies attack, kind of
Well, I seriously doubt there's an active nuclear reactor on this aircraft carrier at this time.
are they all nuclear? All the U.S. aircraft carriers?
I don't know. I assume so. All one's active. They just want to diesel.
Huh. Are all U.S. submarines nuclear?
Currently, at least. I don't know. I think so.
Okay, well, you know more military stuff than
I
I
know
do.
there are nuclear subs. I don't know if they're all nuclear subs.
Okay, fine. Finally, Glenn Mazzara, to get back to things here.
Your propane stuff, really. I know. It's a big, they shape like propane tanks, right? So why not?
So like 80% of the submarines is just a big
Yeah,
propane.
you go big propane dealer, you see the propane tanks, they're really tall, or they're shaped like submarines.
Yes, that's true.
There's got to be
I don't think there's a connection there.
It's not coincidence. It can't be.
I guess not.
It's pressure hull, full propane.
Can I tell you what Glenn's last quote was?
Yeah, please. Sorry. Did I give him a raffle there?
No, that's fine. He finished the interview with, "We have a fantastic scene in our 4th episode. Remember, that's the one where we get a breeder.
Interesting.
4th episode of the season, I believe, will make every fanboy happy. It will give them hope that if they can make it through the zombie apocalypse, they can get laid off a hot chick too."
What does that mean, get laid off a hot chick? Is that part of the quote?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It means that Glenn is going to have sex with Maggie in episode 4.
Well, I'm happy for Glenn.
There's really nothing else to it. Rick and his wife probably have sex all the time, or at least any chance they get.
Yeah.
And Glenn is, the cool guy, and he meets Maggie, which becomes the love of his
Pretty
life.
quote.
Oh yeah.
Laid off a hot chick.
No, yeah,
It's not even laid by a hot chick.
No, off. It completely discounts the woman's role in it whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know what this means. The more I think about it, the more offended I get.
I wouldn't get too offended.
Laid off a hot chick. Hopefully he didn't actually mean that. She gave him sex because, he's Glenn.
Maybe because she feels bad for him.
Maybe petty sex. That's fine too. I mean, that doesn't know petty sex, but at least, it has an emotional response by the woman. Whoever can maybe petty sex, I suppose. Sure. But laid off a hot chick. I'm not sure I like that quote.
Well, it's an interesting way of phrasing it. I will admit, and I thought the same thing when I first read it. But to break it down, it means that Glenn and Maggie are going to do it.
Is it so?
Oh yeah. Who else would it be? And why would he be talking about making fanboys happy? And surviving zombie apocalypse? It's got to be that.
I don't know. Maybe girls need to get laid.
Yeah, maybe.
And sorry, Dale. Dale's gonna get laid too, right?
Could be. But
Off a hot chick.
Yeah, Andrew. Oh, I don't know. Let's how about this? Introduce that phrasing into your vocabulary for the next couple of weeks and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll give it a test there.
Give it a try.
Try on appliance.
That's a good idea.
Like claiming things. Like laid off a hot chick.
That's right. See how that goes. See what happens.
And then there's one. Maybe she'll like it.
Yeah, exactly. Find out. There's one way to find out.
I'll ask her tomorrow.
Alrighty, our next item in the news here is that apparently AMC has shot a pilot for something like a talk show,
Okay.
where they basically do a talk show to discuss their other programming, their original programming.
Isn't that what we're doing?
It's a little bit what we're doing, so that worries me somewhat.
Okay, I don't want to be on the show.
Yes.
Or just project it over.
According to sources, AMC commissioned Watch What Happened Live, which apparently is the Bravo version of the show, where Bravo does this live show after their shows to talk about it.
Right.
They commissioned executive producer Michael Davies to shoot a pilot for a similar series 2 weeks ago. Nerdist blogger and former MTV personality Chris Hardwick, who you may know, most recently seen hosting BBC America's Doctor Who specials, served as the host of the pilot, and the specials focus on Walking Dead. Now, Chris Hardwick hosted the San Diego Comic-Con panel, if I'm not mistaken, and he's a popular blogger, writer, internet celebrity type guy. So he's a cool guy. He's a good guy to host this, I think.
Right.
However, I think I would be a better person to host it, frankly, since we've been doing it for 2 years already.
Yeah, this is video, right?
It is video.
Nobody wants to look at us.
I got face for radio.
Yeah,
Let's put it
we
out. If you're in New York, you'll find out.
So all New York can see you.
They are. That's right. Find me
Here in New York, you'll find out because you're bound to run into Chris.
New York, absolutely. So, NewYorkMag.com said, pairing a drama series with a relatively cheap produced talk show could give AMC a chance to hold on to audience members, unlikely to stick around for another showing of Die Hard. Burn. Essentially making Die Hard. Essentially making a show like The Walking Dead more of an event rather than a simple 1 hour broadcast.
Okay, have you ever heard of the show The Hills? It's on MTV Canada.
Well, I think I've heard it.
It's kind of like a reality type show where they take these bunch of people, they took these bunch of people in Los Angeles and they followed their lives. It's like Spencer and Heidi. You know Spencer and Heidi. I watch the show a little bit every once in a while. But it's immediately following that show, they have the after show where they have these 2 people in a round table panel discussion. They talk about the actual episode. They have the actor come on every once in a while. It's like, oh my god, Heidi, are you going to marry Spencer? And this kind of thing, right? So
lame.
Yes. First of all, The Hills is a lame show. Second of all, the after show is a lame show, but the lame show, so that makes it a lame show in my opinion. So this kind of thing is kind of self-promoting, self-aggrandizing kind of talk show. It makes me nervous.
And not unheard of, is what you're
It's not unheard of. It's actually, I'm sure it'll be very popular. People want to go on and listen to podcasts about shows all the time. They see this stuff out because they like to get involved, they like to hear opinions, they like to have a discussion. It's very popular. And so jumping on this idea, I'm sure this kind of show will be very popular, but it's going to have an agenda, right? I don't know, like having this kind of thing, we are completely independent of the show. We have no contact with any of the producers, makers, financial people whatsoever. We can say whatever we want, like we don't like whatever. This kind of show is not going to have that level of freedom unless they have a very strict ethical guidelines I'm gonna have a problem believing anything people say.
Well, you're right. Presumably, they're just going to be there, pump it up, and praise the thing the whole time. As I heard some people say, give it a tongue bath. Yeah, but that's kind of what they're going to be doing. But a couple of I read an article about how this could be, how they have to do this. They have like 4 or 5 points about what they have to do to make it successful or make it worth watching. And 2 of them would be to have a lot more than just fluff. So you can't just sort of report what happened and be like, oh my god, did you see that zombie? Eat that guy, and what if they ran out of ammo just then, and like stupid stuff like that. Right. And the other thing is be live and take live fan questions. Right. They take fan questions like that. Obviously, they're screened before they're on air, but it could bring an element, at least a small element of authenticity to it because it's fans asking their own questions.
The only way I could give the show any real credibility is if they had us on it. Invite us into the panel. Go there. We talk about the show. Sure. At that point, I would say, I would not go on the show with like being given an agenda. I would only go on the show if I was able to speak my mind, say whatever I want. And I think it would be fun to be invited on. So I'd like to be on the show. I'm not sure if I watch the show, but I'd like to be on the show.
Yeah, bottom line is I will of course watch it if it's on because I'll need to see what's going on, what they're talking about, kind of thing. But you're right, I would totally be part of it. I'm not saying that's going to happen or it will.
Well, it's the format. This format sounds like the after show for the Hills, and they have this after show for pretty much anyone. That's why it's not the Hills after show. It's just called the after show. These two hosts. They come on, they talk about whatever show just finished.
I think that's the idea here too. When you have the different AMC shows, the pilot they shot had to do most of the Walking Dead.
Right. And the way their format is they have these 2 hosts and then they have a panel of people. They have 4 other people, and it's just roundtable discussion. Just talk about the show, good things, bad things. Like just, it's all gossip because it's real people's lives that they're dealing with. So if they have this format where they invite people like us on the show, and we sit down and just talk about it. I think that'd be interesting if they can have that arm's length freedom to talk about whatever they want.
That's key, arm's length. Yeah. What about the concept that having an official discussion right after the show is on, does it take you out of the story too much? Does it provide too much analysis? I mean, that's exactly what we do here, obviously,
Yes.
and that's exactly what our podcast do.
Well, if you don't want to suspend your disbelief, I'm not sure if I'm on the right side of that phrase. If you want to stay believing it as characters, story engaged, and you want to just live with these characters, you don't seek out discussion. You just kind of there's a lot of shows I watch that I don't want to listen to a podcast. I just want to enjoy the show. I want to just think, oh my god, he's naked now. I'm like, oh my goodness, Castle's worried about Beckett and what's going to happen next. Right? I don't engage in any kind of castle podcasting. But people that do like to listen to podcasts, they listen to the podcast, they join the discussion. They don't watch the show.
They're not too worried about being taken out of it, I guess.
I'm sure some people just out of sheer flipping laziness will just watch the show. It's over now. Oh, it's still on. It's still going. You're talking about it. I wonder what they have to say. Yeah, just stick around.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. If anyone out there seen, I know you were talking about the was it MTV?
Yeah,
the MTV after show in Canada. If anyone's seen what happened live on Bravo, I would be interested in some kind of information on that. And if anyone has an opinion about how that works, are they able to stay arm's length? Are they able to stay objective? Can they talk about the good and bad, everything like that? And let us know if you have an opinion about what you think this might do to Walking Dead or any other of the AMC programs. Write or call in and let us know. I think this is an interesting topic for further
It is,
discussion.
and I think that if they do produce the show, I think it'll be very popular.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of people are watching Walking Dead. A lot of people are excited about it. So more content, they can do the better, I think.
Maybe we should start a new podcast called Holy Crap, did you see that? That's not bad. That's about general TV stuff. Like we'll just podcast right after watching TV shows or something.
Hey, we do that every week. We do a segment here. Holy crap, what do you think of this?
Yeah. Holy crap, did you see that? Yeah.
That's not bad.
All right. Trademark. Well, trademark. Copyright.
Trademark. Holy crap, did you see that? Okay, so I'm sure if that makes it to air and they continue on the pilot, we'll have lots to talk about.
We'll start a podcast about that show.
I was thinking, we could do a recap of The Walking Dead, talk about that, and then a recap of the recap, which is talking.
Yeah, we're a meta podcast anyway, so we might as well meta podcast. One more step removed, but yeah, that's right. We'll discuss the discussion.
There you go. See? Okay, The Walking Dead, the next item here, gets 6 Scream Award nominations. Very exciting. They are hosted at Scream Awards by Spike TV. The Walking Dead is nominated for Best TV Show, Best Horror Actor for Andrew Lincoln, Best Horror Actress Sarah Wayne Callies, Best Supporting Actress Laura Holden, Breakout Performance John Bernthal, and the comic, not TV show. The comic was nominated for Best Comic or Graphic Novel, and Charlie Adler for Best Comic Book Artist. Nice. So lots of good stuff there.
Best Horror Actor. Who else do you think is on that list? Big name?
Yeah, they did. I didn't look up the competition in this case.
Supernatural might be horror. We have Sanctuary, possibly.
What about Dexter, guys? Is that horror?
That's more of a crime drama.
Crime procedural.
Not really horror because he's likable. He's a likable serial killer.
Right. That's why that show works, right?
You don't want Dexter to fail at killing his victims.
Okay.
Whereas normally you generally would want a serial killer to not kill his victims, but Dexter is the exception.
Got it. All right. Okay. I don't know who the other. Yes, I do know. Look it up. Hey, Best Horror Actor. Michael C. Hall. Dexter. Son of a bitch. Andrew Lincoln, Walking Dead. Oh, here we go. Stephen Moyer, True Blood.
Oh, yeah, that's horror.
That's Bill.
He's gonna lose.
Alexander Skarsgård, True Blood.
He'll win.
I kind of hope so.
Well, yeah, I mean, Andrew Lincoln's nice, but Star Trek takes your stuff.
How do you do that? Ladies like that too.
They really do.
Patrick Wilson, Insidious.
He's butt too, I think.
Oh, a lot this season too.
So yeah, he's still gonna win. Just for butt.
And he's the butt acting winner. Patrick Wilson also for Insidious. That's a movie though. I don't know if this is only TV shows. But I don't think so.
Oh, that was the whole ball.
It does because Best Horror Actress Sarah Wayne Callies, The Walking Dead. Nev Campbell, Scream 4. Movie I just watched. Anna Paquin, True Blood. Chloe Grace Moretz, Let Me In, and Rose Byrne in Insidious again. So
We watched True Blood this week.
good.
No, because we get to the actor spotlight.
Oh, that's right.
Later.
We'll get there. So there you go. The Scream Awards are determined by fan voting. So if you want to make your vote heard and have your influence counted, head over to spike.com and get voted.
Scream was nominated for Scream Award.
Yeah. Except the A is the movie title is the 4. So yeah, they got to win. It's the same thing. You think?
That's like Skarsgård losing a Skarsgård award. It's not possible. No, even the whole Skarsgård there's supposed to be Peter. Who's his dad?
No, Skarsgård is different than Skarsgård.
Who's his dad?
No, Peter Skarsgård is one actor. The guy in True Blood is Alexander Skarsgård, not Skarsgård.
Right.
And Alexander Skarsgård's father is Stellan Skarsgård,
Who is
another actor.
Sweet.
Who you know from something like
I'm sure even the Skarsgård award.
Peter Skarsgård, unrelated.
Oh, that
Very confusing. Okay, so the Scream Awards are handed out on October 19th at 9 p.m. on Fight TV.
I thought that Casey Hall was married to Steven Seagal. So.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, I figured it out.
That's because they have the same name.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that Tom Cruise and Penelope Cruz got together. Still different, but still the same last name.
That's true. Yeah, that's weird.
Hollywood strange.
That didn't last too long.
Of course not. It's
All right. quick last 2 items of news here. The DragonCon did their big convention a couple weeks ago. There was a Walking Dead panel and Sweet. John Bernthal was there, Laurie Holden, Stephen Yeun, Chandler Riggs, Madison Lintz, who plays Sophia, and Adam Miller, who played the little zombie at the very beginning of the first episode. So there's no spoilers and really no information about the show. The interesting thing was the crowd was told exactly 8 times not to ask any questions about the firing of Frank Darabont, which is fun. Yeah, fun for the crowd, I'm sure. Although the cast did talk about working with Frank, they didn't mention his dismissal at all. So AMC is keeping a short leash on these people.
They sure are.
You know, they don't want any bad press to come out of this.
What will happen if
Any more
somebody
to
asks a question?
They'd be sniped. They had a sniper behind the stage taking people out.
Well, that seems a little excessive. It does. I'm just wondering if they would be escorted from the panel.
Probably. Well, I mean, the question wouldn't be answered and be kicked out. That's exactly what happened. You know? The cast also didn't talk about what it's been like working for Mazzara, so didn't have anything to say about him either. So it was pretty clear. I think everyone was briefed on what was appropriate to talk about.
It's like movie junkies. You know where interviewers actually they interview the cast and directors and stuff, movies and all the posters of the movie in the background. You know how those work? Those are junkets. So what happens is the actors stay in a booth and the interviewers rotate. Yes, right. So the interviewers come in and the studio runs the cameras. Right. They have all the cameras in there. They film all the stuff. So you just go in and ask questions. At the end, if they like you, they give you a copy of the tape. If you ask stupid questions, if you ask questions that are out of line, if you don't do something that they don't like, you don't get the tape. Yeah. See you later. Doesn't air. Yeah. That seems kind of well control free. That's control free. The way these people are. You know, I like those junkets. There's no value to them in that respect. They're all just fluff. It's all just happy questions. Be nice and promote the movie. Yeah. Or you don't get anything.
So
if you get press credits, then you get to go and do some interviews.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know, man.
Ask questions. I asked about the Frank Darabont.
You know,
even if you use the letter F, I'm gonna ask you.
So what was it like working under FD? Yeah, do that. Okay, finally news this week. Spoiler TV has reported 2 new characters introduced in season 2, episode 9. Spoiler. Yeah, now these aren't the 2 new characters we talked about on the last podcast that I got from the IMDb, Jimmy and Hustler. So according to Spoiler TV, the 9th episode of Walking Dead season 2 will introduce 2 new characters, Dave and Tony.
Oh, okay.
Dave is described as a charming and friendly guy, the type who you would love to have a beer with. Unfortunately, none beside him is as nice as he can turn quickly dangerous.
That's not bad. Don't let him turn left. Don't be on the left. Quickly turns left. You're screwed.
Meanwhile, Tony is his younger friend and described as a quick-tempered and less intelligent. Tony likes 3 things: women, food, and guns.
Oh, nice. So what we got here? We got what's the name of the movie? Mice and Men.
Okay, there's a movie. Yes. What does that do then?
No, just you're a fun-loving guy, you're a regular guy, and the very, very strong, quick-tempered, less intelligent guy who gets killed by the smart guy.
There you go. See, I imagine these two guys are in there to get the love.
Yeah,
you know,
might as well be wearing red shirts.
that's exactly it. So two characters are not in the comic. We'll see what they do with them. And there you go. That wraps up the news for this week. News is getting bigger and more
Bigger and more better is what you're looking for.
Not really. It's more abundant, I think.
Okay.
But it's getting more abundant every week, bigger and better. So next podcast should be even more, and then the podcast after that will be our show right before the premiere.
That'll be the most better.
Right before I go to New York City. So it'll be really exciting. The week after that, we're going to go weekly again.
Yeah, of course, I think so.
We got shows on
no time to go weekly.
No, we're going to go weekly then. So we're going to take a short break, everybody. When we come back, it will be our Walking Dead Actor Spotlight on Andrew Rothenberg. Stay with us.
You said you wanted some rockin' long distance. You said you wanted just to be left alone. You said you met about too much resistance. No one really knows where you've been. You tell me you got nowhere you've been. No one really knows where you've been. You bury yourself down deep in the
For you listeners of the Talking Dead podcast, Audible is offering free audiobook download with a free 14-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Jason, what's your recommendation for fine people this week?
I'm going to recommend Demon by Daniel Suarez.
Demon now. Is that D-A-E-M-O-N?
It is.
Oh,
It's exciting. There's thousands of demons running every day. Local people running around in the background. So this guy sets up this program, realizes when he dies, and it basically takes over and starts doing some weird and wonderful stuff, killing people and all kinds of nasty things. It kind of takes over.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that after that? Just fun. I guess that is fun. Yeah, screw with people's lives after you're dead.
Yeah. So there's a sequel to it called Freedom DM.
Cool. What's the running time on that book?
Oh, I just moved away from it and I usually write that down. I don't know.
All right, that's okay. Take that. It's a great option. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/talkingdead. That's audibletrial.com/talkingdead for your free audiobook. You can get Demon by Daniel Suarez. Hey, and we're back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Now it's time for our Walking Dead Actor Spotlight on supporting character Jim, who's played by Andrew Rothenberg.
Sorry.
Something ding.
Yeah, my ding ding.
That's all right. So we watched 4 episodes of TV that Mr. Rothenberg has been in over the years. Let's start with Castle, season 2, episode 17. It's called Tick, Tick, Tick. The summary for this episode is in a 2-part storyline. Federal agent Jordan Shaw, an insightful and accomplished federal investigator, teamed up with Castle and Beckett to hunt down a cunning and elusive serial killer.
All right.
So Andrew Rothenberg plays a character in this episode who they originally investigate for the crime.
That's right.
he's not. Spoiler. He's not the killer.
He is not guilty.
He is not the one. He is. He's a what do you call it? Patsy. He's set up by the killer, and an agreement is made between the killer for him to do something to throw the cops off the
That's
right.
right. He pays him. He's not really Patsy. Patsy's set up unknowingly or unknowingly.
Oh,
He was paid to. He knew what was happening. The cops finger,
Yep.
and he used the finger for a fingerprint. And he knew that Detective Nikki Heat was coming to ask him questions.
Nikki, and this was a good. I kind of like this episode. It was an important episode in the Castle mythos because it was directly about the books that Castle is writing.
Right.
And the character Nikki Heat based on Detective Beckett. Right. If you don't see the show, like, what the hell is this? What the hell
Both
is
fans of the show, so are our lives, so we're familiar with Beckett and Nikki Heat.
Exactly. I like this episode. I thought it was pretty good, and it had the exciting part at the end of where Detective Beckett's house blows up.
We forgot the part where Detective Beckett was in the shower.
Also in there, yeah, she's in the shower, house closed, the end.
That's right. And it's fascinating that the other detective that's in the federal agent Jordan Shaw, played by what's her name?
Right now.
Yeah, she's Canadian.
Also was Nathan Fillion.
And what's her name?
Oh, Detective Beckett is too.
They're all
Yeah,
Canadian.
she's from Hamilton or something.
That's right.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's right. So that's very exciting for us. I don't know why.
We always recognize Canadians in television movies.
Well,
My wife does.
we're
She loves Canadian movies.
that's weird. We're notoriously inferior.
I would say that.
That's why we have to point out the fact that there's Canadians.
We're proud of our Canadian citizenship and other Canadians as they make inroads into the Canadian or the American pop culture.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So Andrew Rothenberg, he plays a guy. He basically walks up an alley. He sees the police on the way, and then they catch him.
They tase him.
Yeah, that's right. Castle tases him. That's right. He gets tased. They question him, realize he's not the guy because he says this is exactly what happened, and that's it. That's the whole part. He did well. Kind of look a little bit like Jim on The Walking Dead.
Think so?
A little bit.
Well, it's the same actors, don't look the same.
Yeah, you know how big his ears are?
No.
You go back and watch one of these. He's got some big ears.
Okay.
So that was a good small part, but you know, he was the right mix of goofy and goofy. I don't know. He was a little goofy.
He's the right next to Goofy and kind of goofy.
I guess so. Yeah. You know, he was just kind of there, not taking it too seriously.
Shaggy?
His character.
Yeah, like dogs.
There you go. And he's got big ears like some dogs.
There you go.
All right. Let's do one next.
Oh, Future Blood.
All right. Why are you summary on this one?
Burning House of Love. After spending the night with Bill, Sookie is convinced that she has found the man of her dreams in the person who took her virginity.
Now, this-
I forgot Bill took her virginity.
Me too. Completely forgot. This was a huge episode of True Blood.
It was pretty big.
I didn't really remember it too much. I mean, before watching it, I remember when I was watching it, there were scenes I remember, especially Andrew Rothenberg's scene.
Yeah.
He is awesome in this. Don't you think?
I think so.
I think he was great. He plays one of Bill's former vampire friends from before he kind of changes his ways, sort of. And so he comes in, Andrew Rothenberg, with the other two vampires. He walks into Lots, which is the bar, and just owns the place.
Yep.
Says, "Here's what I'm doing. Here's why I'm here. We bought a place locally. We're locals now, and you guys are all in trouble."
Right. And he was awesome. He was awesome. This was I really liked this episode. I forgot that this all happened in one episode. There was a lot going on.
That's the thing. So he slept with Bill for the first time.
That's right.
Anybody for the first time. We had Andrew being awesome. We had Jason taking the V,
Yep.
which was cool.
And we had what's her name show up? The one who gets in the V at the end. She's in the next bunch of episodes.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a great storyline. I really like the storyline with her and Jason and the guy from News Radio.
I don't remember exactly where it
He was
goes.
in Office Space too. He was a vampire. He's like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
I remember. The guy plays a vampire and they had that whole interaction and they end up killing him. It's just great.
Yeah,
The whole storyline is
yeah, you're right. That's cool. That was the start of good things on that show.
I really like the actor who plays Jason Statham. I want to put that out there. He's in a new movie. I know he's Australian.
Ryan Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
he does a good job. But the scene with Rothenberg in Lots was just stellar. I just love the way he came in there and totally dominated everybody. And then they sort of grab Bill and walk out.
Yep, and then leave.
And then they leave. And
they burn down.
yeah, then the local rednecks go and decide to burn down their house, and they kill him.
Yep. That's the end of that.
So that's the end of that. That was his last appearance on the show. He had 2 episodes before that as well. So, but they did a really nice job there too. True Blood's a great show.
Yes, it is.
So let's do weeds next. We watched season 4, episode number 1 called "Her Mother Thinks the Birds Are After Her." Summary here has changed. Is the name of the game for everyone in the 4th season opener. As the Botman family, homeless since their beloved town of Jessica is burned down, hit the road in search of a new place to call home, and of course, grow weed. Yeah. Have you watched all of Weeds?
I've seen, well, not all the current season, but
There we go.
up to the end of season 6.
So this episode was okay for me. This is the only episode of Weeds I've ever
Well, it's
watched.
kind of disjointed because there's, it's the end of a whole era of the show, and it's the opening kind of sequence into a new era of the show. The first 3 seasons are them in the town of Majestic, right? And the whole thing is that Nancy Botman is a typical housewife in this suburban town, and she's, in order to supplement her income after her husband dies, she starts selling weed. She gets involved with a bunch of people, and she gets involved with all this kind of stuff, and she's selling weed, and she's sort of popular. But then that all changes when the whole town basically burns down, and she actually does her house and gasoline in order to make sure that her house burns down. There's a wildfire burning through her whole suburb. And so this is the gateway into the next section. Next episodes are next seasons up from 4 till 7 are all with the Botman family in different locations. They're on the run. They're moving from place to place. They don't stay anywhere very long. That kind of thing. So this is a very pivotal episode.
And not knowing any of that was my problem.
Yes.
Right? I got none of the history. I mean, I guess it's an okay place to pick up the show if you're going to start in the middle and watch from there, right? Kind of. But I don't know something I really do. But yeah, I didn't know what the fire was all about.
You don't know what the characters are because they jump from being in this small house with Nancy Botman and her family and her husbands and the other guys, her brother-in-law and their father and his mother kind of thing. So this is all this. And they jump to a shelter where people are holding down after the fire in Majestic, and it's got Kevin Nealon. Yep. And you don't know what the hell is going on over there either, right? Kevin Nealon was on city council, that kind of thing, but he was also laundering money from the drug trade.
And it ended with her meeting some Mexican guys to make a cross-border deal or something.
Yeah, she knew him from before. She had met him in Majestic before. She had dealings with him. He becomes more prominent in 4th and 5th season.
Got it. Okay. So it's a pretty good show here. It's popular. People like it. You like it. And I may go watch it someday. I don't know.
It's a quick half-hour fun. Really.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not too serious, right?
No, it's comedy. The show's comedy. Well, Albert Brooks in for crying out loud. It has to be a comedy.
He was good.
Like, he's great. He's in like 4 or 5 episodes. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he was really fun. What did you think of Andrew Rothenberg part?
Yeah, if you recall, it was very, very small, but he pulled off.
Yeah, I guess so. One scene, couple of lines. He played a detective, right?
A federal agent.
Oh, federal agent. Is he on their trail, like for multi-episode spans?
Not that I recognize. The FBI is sort of fired tobacco and firearms or whatever the hell they are. They're after her for a little while, but they give up after a while. Because she's actually, in previous seasons, she actually meets somebody who turns out to be a DEA agent. I guess DEA, I just remember. She ends up marrying him.
Oh, good.
So she married the DEA agent and then he gets killed.
Right.
So, and the guy that's after her was his partner. Right. So it's a whole thing.
It's the whole thing. Andrew Rothenberg's the partner?
No, the main detective dude that was interviewing her.
Right, okay. It's very confusing when you haven't seen it. But hey, Andrew Rothenberg pulled off his one lines. He was pretty good.
Emily Blunt's great in the show. You should watch the show, even just for Emily.
Okay, well, he's
And
interesting.
Celia Host, she's great too. I forget the actress name, but the woman that they blame everything on.
Oh, yeah, the blonde.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's great too.
Okay,
Good show.
well, there you go. Finally, we watched Monk.
We sure did. We watched the hell out of that show. Mr. Monk and a really, really dead guy. Yeah, a street musician. He's murdered 6 different ways, and their killer is threatening to strike again. But Monk and his colleagues are forced into the sidelines by obnoxious FBI agents.
So, Monk, have you seen the show before?
I have watched the first half of the pilot, and I couldn't continue.
Why was that?
Because the show was silly and it's just dumb.
Yeah, that was my feeling, to be honest with you. The show is very popular. It wins awards, a lot of them. I know it doesn't mean anything, unless it's a show you really like winning awards. And you love it. However, I didn't like this show either. And I got the feeling that this particular episode may have been a little bit more over the top than your average one.
I'm not sure.
Well, I got the feeling because of the FBI agent storyline there. They're not all there all the time. Only just Monk and his local police department solving crimes, I imagine.
Right.
And all of Monk's eccentricities, should we say, right? But the long scenes we got with him on a computer, I'm like, God, what is this? Like, 1998?
He's learning how to use a computer and he's clicking a mouse button for the first time.
Yeah, like that's not funny anymore. I mean, this is season 5, so it was a few years ago, I guess, but it's not funny or interesting. That's the problem. And
I'm not sure that this was more over the top than another one because they were doing the FBI or whoever they were going into they thought they tracked down the killer and they were going in hot and heavy, so they had like a SWAT team, they were moving in and just the silly music that was going on in the background. It was like music that was in Sin City. It was the doo-doo-doo in Sin City. It's the same Sin City music playing in the background. It's not honest. It's not. It was just completely inappropriate music. It was just kind of lighthearted silly music. They were going into this SWAT team thing.
that's kind of what I mean, though. Like, because the FBI was there, it was even more ridiculous than normal. I think regularly it's supposed to just be kind of a lighthearted, cop show that centers around this eccentric cop who's a germaphobe and just happens to be smart or whatever, it's solving, putting logic together and solving crimes, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, that's what the show is. That's great. When you put the FBI, you try to mix serious police into that.
That wasn't serious police. That
No,
was
I know.
way over the top, obnoxious FBI agent that never would have gone anywhere, could not lead a team to save his life. They would have been shot and killed by his own man as a rookie.
No, I agree. I totally agree. It wasn't serious police, but I mean, the FBI is supposed to be serious. So when you put them in that, and include them in that kind of ridiculous over the top way with that stupid like vehicle and a dumb little handheld thing that can do anything.
They printed out a driver's license.
I mean,
it's right. I wish I had one of those.
Why? So you can make that easier?
No, I
yourself?
got the driver's license, but the fact that printed it out
Make yourself younger?
why would you need a handheld device to print anything?
It's kind of what I'm saying though. Like it seems even more ridiculous because of that element in there. If that wasn't there, we just have Monk being ridiculous all by himself, and I don't know what they do normally. But
Okay, before we talk about Andrew Rothenberg, the only redeeming factor in this whole TV show was the guy who played Buffalo Bill in Sounds of the Lambs was one of the police officers.
I don't remember Sounds of the Lambs well enough.
No, he was the Buffalo. You remember Sounds of the Lambs? He was the guy that was making the suit out of his skin. He was like, she puts his lotion on her skin and she gets the hose again. That guy. He was one of the lead detectives.
Okay.
That was it. You don't see him much, right? So I was like, oh, there he is. That's nice to hear his voice. Doesn't look like him anymore.
I can see that guy.
Yeah. His voice.
Well, Andrew Rothenberg as a morgue doctor did okay.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
He delivered his lines with the appropriate amount of seriousness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, it's a very stoic kind of thing. It's like, okay, I investigated this and I found this.
Yeah, and that's typical for that character. You see that character in every police show, right? Yes. There's always the morgue doctor who's doing the autopsy or gathering evidence from the body. Yeah. And he was an unusual choice in my opinion for that role. Why? I don't know what it is. Like, I never pictured him in a role like that. He's more of a guy like The Walking Dead or the little bit more like the True Blood role. Really eccentric kind of guy. He's the straight-laced doctor who just sits there and like found fingerprints here and
He pulled it off. I thought he did a great
I thought he did too. It's just one of those roles that I wouldn't expect to see him in. But maybe he's that kind of actor. He's a solid working actor. He has a lot of different kinds of roles. Not all of them really sort of in your face. Right.
He does what's required.
He does
That's
what's
why a good quality working actor does. I mean, he does the role.
That is true. And it's nice because he had a couple more scenes in this than he did in the episode of Weeds. So
Yeah,
I've seen him a few times.
he wasn't just in one scene and move on. He was in the scene and he had to keep continue watching this show and then he was in it again.
All right.
I almost gave up. I was like, oh, I should just at least finish watching.
It's only half an hour.
It was an hour.
Was it an hour?
Monk?
Oh, you're right.
Oh my God, it went by so fast. It was so enjoyable.
No, you're right. It was an hour. So yeah, there you go. That's Andrew Rothenberg from Castle, True Blood, Weeds, and Monk. If you have any comments or questions or agree or disagree with anything we've said here about his past work, please send us an email talkingdeadpodcast@gmail.com or give us a call at 1-866-483-9662 and make your voice heard. So Jason, we've got 2 more podcasts before The Walking Dead is back on the air. We are going to do 2 short actor spotlights in those 2 weeks.
Well, we're expecting more news to come in, right?
That's the thing. News segments are getting longer and longer here in the podcast because they're getting longer and longer. So we don't want to monopolize too much of your time. Next week, we're going to watch one movie starring Noah Emmerich, who starred as Edwin Jenner, the doctor at CC. We're going to watch Miracle.
I like that movie.
Yeah, that's the story of the U.S. Olympic hockey team that took gold in the 70s. 72? 72? Could have been. We'll watch the movie
76.
Okay. We'll get back in that. And might as well announce right now that the following podcast, we're going to spotlight Michael Rooker by watching Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, one of his earliest and best known roles.
It's gonna be good. I haven't seen it.
No, movie neither of the scene, which will be good, so we should be able to finish our actor spotlight run on high note.
Very good.
So there you go. After that, I'll be in New York City. We'll do short podcasts every day that weekend, if we can, hopefully we can.
I'm sure we can.
And then after the premiere on the 16th, we'll start our regular weekly show, recapping that, talking about the episode.
Good times.
On Monday the 17th. The only problem with that is I'm coming back late on Monday, so we're gonna have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
I could maybe move the flight a bit, but that's neither here nor there. We'll sort that out.
Any podcast on the plane?
Do something, unfortunately. Well, no. I'm playing long enough for years. No one's like,
What I'll do is I'll record my side of the podcast as we just send it to you. Then you can do your side on the plane.
great idea.
Well, I don't see how this could fail.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? And I think that is it for this week, Jason. Anything else you want to tell the fine listeners before we wrap up?
I don't want to tell anything else.
Okay, very good. If you want to contact us, you can call us at 1-866-483-ZOMB. That's 9662. It's toll free call, everybody. You can find us on Twitter at Talking Dead or Facebook.com/TheTalkingDead. We gotta do something more with the Facebook page. There's not a lot going on there right now. The episodes do make it up there, but a little bit more discussion would be good. So we'll talk about that. We'll see what to do. Finally, you can use your email talkingdeadpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your comments, questions, or anything you might have to say. If you live in New York City and you're going to be attending Comic-Con, or even if you're not and just want to get together and see what I actually look like, if you don't know already,
Is that something you're trying to do?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know. My name is out there online. So if anyone tries hard enough, they can find it probably. But if you want to get together or you got some time in New York to show me around, hey, I'm all for it. So send us a quick email and we'll set something up. So we're a month out. I'm very excited. Everybody keep your excitement a little high. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with episode number 54.
Bye.